is that people say black people and white people.
Yeah, instead of just people.
Yeah, instead of just people. I was watching this video. It's an annoying video of this lady calling the cops on this little 8-year-old black girl who's selling water. Have you seen it? Viral video.
Yeah.
Viral video.
She's not supposed to sell water.
She's calling the fucking police. She's saying selling water without a permit, and her mom videotapes her and puts it up and makes it viral. And that's one of those videos where everything's in the right place. The white lady is overweight. She's just angry looking,
exactly like
overweight white lady. The little black girl is as cute as a button. The mom is talking to her in a way that's like not too aggressive. She goes, she out here calling the police on a little girl trying to sell water. We see you, boo. Like, she's not being horrible.
Yeah.
And everything just fell into place. This like perfect example of like, what's happening here? Like, is this racism, or is this someone who's just complains about everything? Would she be doing that for an 8-year-old little girl?
Yeah, you don't know.
That's white.
I hear the argument a lot. Like, you wouldn't do this if it was a man. You wouldn't do this if it was a woman. You wouldn't do this if it was black. But it's like, you're not basing on any set of. It's just like one example versus one example.
Well, you're not proof. You don't. There's no proof
I
that
worked
she
at
wouldn't
the
have done
Beverly
that
Hills.
with an 8-year-old
I worked at the
white
Beverly
girl.
Hills Chamber of Commerce, and whenever somebody wanted new seating, like sidewalk seating, they had to just get through. But all it would take is one housewife from the area to get a stick up their ass about the rules and say no, and like it'll be done by 8 p.m. There won't be any hurt on the people around us. We'll clean up. And if she goes no, then it's like 24 more hoops to jump. You know, and it's just because these housewives have nothing to do better than to enforce rules. So could be that. Could be fuck these black kids. I don't have any idea.
She was on the on an interview talking about it, which is a terrible idea, by the way.
Who? The white chick?
lady, yeah. And she put all this makeup on and everything, which is also a terrible idea.
Like Mimi from Drew Carey show.
It was just not good. Oh my god. With a Drew Carey reference. I forgot about her. But the whole thing was, she was saying that she was working and that she had the window open, the little girl was shouting and screaming. She was trying to make it look bad as possible. Yeah, she was a victim. And she said she apologized to both the little girl and the mom, but they won't accept her apology. Which is like, okay. Well, you know, there's nothing wrong with accepting someone's apology. Clearly she shouldn't have done that. Like, you shouldn't tell a little 8-year-old not sell water on a hot day. Who gives a fuck? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
I can see also just going, hey, come on, guys, don't scream by my window.
Yeah, don't
did you
scream.
take that step first?
Yeah, like maybe she was saying that it was a hot day, and so she had her window rolled down. And the kid was screaming, but apparently she didn't talk to them. She didn't talk to the kid, and she didn't talk to the mom. She just called the police and went outside.
So see, that's a problem. People are so antisocial; they just go straight to like someone deal with it instead of just like, hey, it's like when you get a note in your apartment door saying something. It's like or the front door. You're like, just come to my apartment and knock. Just ask once. Just try it humanely once. And then go to the other step.
So they compared her with this white chick who called on. She called the police on the barbecue, and they're the same person. Not really, but yes.
I was like, that would be crazy.
This bitch is
my god,
ruthless.
She's doubling down. She's just going for
But
it.
they look so similar, man. Like in the way, the shape of their body.
It's that housewife, man.
Yep, it's that
middle-aged white housewife. It's a fucking shitty, the worst position to be in the world.
There's definitely
nothing to do.
Here, look. Come on, son.
Yes.
Come on, look at the two of them together. They're both on the phone with these like sexually ambiguous forms. Like, you know that that's a woman, but you know, both of them, they're overweight. It's just weird. It's weird. They're like clearly. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I don't think I will say most people that are shaped like that don't feel good.
Don't feel good.
They don't feel good, right? They're upset at stuff.
You ever have somebody screaming about something like, you're not supposed to sell water here, but just meet them with like, what?
And then you got the lady who ran the little black boys off from the swimming pool. She shaped the same way, just a little short, overweight, middle-aged housewife trying to throw out words. Look, get away from here, you little punks! And then hit the little boy. Like, bitch, don't put your hands on my kid. You mad because you shaped like a bag of sugar. I can't help. You look like grits. That's not my problem. You need to talk to your parents about your genetics. You got bad genes, lady. You look like you shaped like a boxing glove. You know, but that's not my problem. Don't be mad at me because the Pillsbury Doughboy got more curves than you. You know what I'm saying? Looking like a big ass center block and shit.
What happened to you?
Yeah.
Why are you so angry? But you're not supposed to. I was like, sure, okay, I'll do that. So why are you so mad?
Selling water without a permit.
I got a discussion with somebody on Twitter way back about that guy, Michael Brown. I Can't Breathe. Is that Michael Brown?
No, that's not Michael Brown.
Eric Garner. It was Eric Garner.
Yeah. In New
And
York.
somebody's like, yeah, what you don't understand is I have a business and like let's say I sell cigarettes and somebody's undercutting me with no permits right outside, that really hurts my business. And I was like, okay, sure, I'll give you that. Do you think the punishment for that should be choking someone maybe till they can't breathe? And he's like, oh, no, that's too much of a punishment. I was like, yeah, okay.
Well, here's the problem with that. The official version of that is that he didn't have any cigarettes on him.
He did not?
No, he had nothing. He had nothing.
What?
Yeah, no, he had nothing. When they had arrested him before for that, but he was clean. So
He
all
didn't
that
have cigarettes?
he was telling him to leave him the fuck alone. He's like, y'all always out here fucking with me. Just leave me the fuck alone.
And they started
then
back.
they wanted to frisk him, and it was for no reason.
Oh my God, not even cigarettes.
They're
Even
just
with
hanging
cigarettes
out.
is still too much. It's like, just give me the ticket, bitch.
Yes, they shouldn't touch him. I mean, and he wasn't a violent guy. He wasn't like threatening them in some sort of a way. And then they tried to say that it wasn't a chokehold. I'm like, bitch, let me put you in that.
Dude, I
Let me
passed
get
by
you
these two
neck.
cops and I wanted to, one was set right after that in New York. I was like, that's not a chokehold. And I wanted to stop and go, actually, I'm friends with an expert on the subject and he does say that it is
Fucking
chokehold.
chokehold. I'll choke you to death like that.
Yeah.
I will choke you to death with that.
How's
It's
that not a
underneath.
chokehold?
Listen, he's got his hands gripped. That is like the same. It's a backwards version of what you would call like a Marcelo Garcia guillotine, which means like there's certain guys that are really good at getting the blade of the forearm across your esophagus. It's very painful. And like Amal Easton taught me how to do this in. Shout out to Boulder, Colorado. Amal Easton is a jiu-jitsu coach, and he's got a fantastic guillotine. And one of the things about his guillotine is he knows how to get that blade of that
Into your
bone
neck.
right into your esophagus. It's horrific. It feels terrible. And they do it like with a high elbow, so you can't escape it. It's an immediate feeling. That guy has his forearm right across that guy's throat.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. If I'm holding that like that, and he has his hands clasped together. Can you make it a little bigger? So you can see his right hand.
Resist, like, it's crazy.
Yeah, see, but you can still choke someone out, even if his hand. I can't tell if his hands are connected. I think they are. It looks like he's got a hand inside his hand.
Eric Garner's
No,
hands are like
100%. And his arm is behind his back, too.
Oh.
But the point is, the guy who's choking him, the way he's doing that, you could choke a guy like that with one arm. You don't even have to have that right arm in play. If he's got that left arm
he does
underneath
have
the neck
clasped.
like that, all he has to do is hook the back of the head, or put the shoulder, rather, the traps. If
That's
your
what's his
arms
name
are
did
long enough.
from San Jose. He got somebody in a
Jake
one-arm.
Shields?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
hit somebody in a one-arm guillotine.
Yeah, Jake could do anybody like that. Tito Ortiz did that in the UFC before. He choked somebody out with a one-arm guillotine. Luke Rockhold did it to Michael Bisping. He got him in a mounted one-armed guillotine.
I mean, here's the problem. Why don't the other cops ever go, hey, Tony, that's enough?
Yeah, listen, man, that's a goddamn chokehold. I know chokeholds. I commentate them on for a fucking living. That's
Yeah.
a chokehold. And if you don't think it's a chokehold, let me put you in it. Let me put you in it and see how long you last.
What?
That's a fucking chokehold. To figure that out.
Don't you think this is like when you smoke DMT, and I've never smoked DMT, and I never would do any illegal psychedelic. But let's say that I
Yeah, don't do it.
let's say that I'd recently done it at, like, I don't know, Burning Man, where no one's doing drugs there anymore. But let's say that I'd done
Right.
it there. But like
People are so confused.
Anymore.
point is, like,
Back in the old days,
Man,
it was better.
like, so making up that I had that, I had a crazy experience, man, where I looked down after drinking this very strong mint tea, and I saw this fucking, I don't know, it looked kind of like a cow or something, but coming out of it had this long neck with like a technological lantern hanging off of it. And I'm looking at that thing, and what's interesting about DMT is you look away, and you look back, and that fucking thing's still there, man. It's just right there. I'm like, what the fuck? Got sucked through this tube into this beautiful, beautiful domed structure. Oh man, it was so pretty, and it's spinning with potential. It's just pure potentiality. And I'm looking at this incredible thing. It's technology for sure. I mean, whatever this was, the way my brain was interpreting it is like, this is technology. Like, I'm looking at some kind of super advanced simulator or some kind of machine that is like simulating realities, and I'm looking at it, it's like, my God, it's just so much potential here. But I thought to myself, I'm gonna miss my friends if I have to hang out in this place. Because the interesting thing about DMT is that there's a sense of, I've heard other people report this, a sense of incredible familiarity, where you're like, I have been here. In fact, this is home.
Yeah.
And then you realize the feeling of coming home is actually, that is not even close to the feeling of being at home here. And I'm looking around at this and thinking, yeah, but my friends, what about all my friends? I'm gonna in this space, I'm gonna miss them. And that thing, it doesn't talk to you, but it's like, might as well be a voice. It's like, oh, you can always go back there. And then I open my eyes and I'm back at Burning Man, hanging out with my friends. And that's when I realized, oh, fuck, I get reincarnation, man. I get it. This thing you're talking about, the simulator that is going to happen, sometimes after having taken psychedelics, you think, no, it's already fucking happened. And this thing that we're in right now, our lives, the idea of reincarnation is you die, and then you become a goat or something crazy like that, a larva, a slug. But what if it's that you die, you pop into that DMT realm, and you get to jump back into your life at any frame of your life that you want to. You can actually repopulate your life or reincarnate your life at any moment. So you die, you become the universal superintelligence, and then you gaze back into what happened. And usually it's like in Buddhism, they say the cause of suffering is attachment. That you're attached to that life, this thing you just were, this fucking interdimensional temporal worm that burrowed through time with every action that you took. And you're
But
like,
I don't want to die.
yeah, well, you're like, I want to go back.
Right.
I want to go back to this moment right now. And I was podcasting with my pals, doing a shrimp parade, and then boom, there you are. You're back in your life. So in any given moment, you could be reincarnating a million fucking times. You could just be like always coming back to any frame of your life that you want. And anyway, this is what came to me out there in the desert, and I was thinking, oh, I get it. It's not like you reincarnate into other life forms. You keep repeating your life, but it's not a circle, it's a spiral, hopefully, because each time you can improve a little bit more. You can improve a little bit more, make decisions that you normally wouldn't make, which is why, like, at any given moment, you know the big moments that come when you're around somebody and you're about to say some shitty fucking thing to them, you know, your enemy, your whoever it may be, that moment where you're like about to do the fucking thing you always do, and you can feel it, like you feel this gravitational pull to the habituation, and in that moment you're like, you don't say the shitty thing. In that moment you discipline yourself, you control yourself, you don't do the thing you've always done, whatever it is, and in that moment your life spirals up a little bit, and now you're existing in like a completely new, like essentially a new universe.
A higher plane.
What?
You hit a higher plane.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, that's kind of, in a way, it replicates what you talk about sometimes on your social media. I see on your Instagram, like taming the inner bitch.
Yeah.
Like the thing the other day was like, you know, I really did not want to do this today. You know, I got up, you know, after you did a show the night before or whatever, and you did it, and at the end of it, by doing that thing you didn't want to do,
yeah,
or not doing the thing you do want to do,
yeah,
conversely, you do move to a higher level.
And
you feel way better.
That thing you Instagram, which I think is a super cool thing that you do, because I think it's like a lot of people need to like think, yeah, man, I could fucking anytime I want, I could just start jogging it, but it's like,
and you could, like really you could, you just start doing it. You don't even have to be good at it. You don't have to do anything. Just make sure you do it. If you just do that, everything changes for the better. And that seems so easy. It seems so ridiculous. But you need to hear people say it, and you need to hear someone say it who actually does it.
Yes. Now, that, you know, Rupert Sheldrake, I think you might...
Yeah, I've had him on.
Oh, cool. Okay,
Yeah,
so you know his idea, the runnel and the time-space, he calls it a runnel, basically. So that feeling, when you're like, fuck, I'm not going to go running, you're not just feeling your own, like, you know, lack of ambition or laziness. You're literally feeling, now again, I don't believe it's just like a thought experiment or whatever, but you're literally feeling the gravitational pull of infinite lifetimes where in that moment you decided not to go running. You're actually feeling like the track that you've carved deep into the time-space continuum. By every time that moment appears, you keep making. So when you actually do go, I'm gonna go fucking running, you're kind of climbing out of this trench that you've dug into time over countless incarnations. And when you do that and you're out there running, you're like in a new dimension now. You're like, what the fuck? This is the dimension where I decided to go running. And then that's why everything starts changing a little bit when you make these decisions.
Big life-changing moves.
Yeah.
Those are good for you.
And for some people, going out jogging can be a life-changing move. It doesn't have to be some spectacular thing. It could be as simple as like
taking a yoga class, deciding you're going to take a yoga class twice a week or 3 times a week can change your life.
Calling someone who you've said some shitty thing to because they did something wrong, and being the bigger person and apologizing. Instead of holding that stupid grudge, calling them up and being like, hey, I'm sorry. I was fucking mad. I love you. You're great. Instead of like carrying on with this stupid, angry war.
Carousel.
Yeah, the carousel. Anytime you make decisions like that, things get fucking better so fast. And then like, I don't know if you've noticed I've noticed like synchronicities start happening more. Like good luck starts happening more. Like interesting things start happening more.
Yeah, I think we fight against ourselves sometimes accidentally. Like when I was young, I would have an interaction with someone, and then I would always imagine what they were going to say when we talked again, and then I would imagine me talking shit to them.
Yes.
And then I would imagine them getting upset at me and having a delusional perspective. I would like play out this weird play in my mind. And then when I was in my 20s, I started to realize how preposterous it was. It took me that long. And I realized, like, I'm wasting all this time. And I didn't realize it was I didn't realize other people did until I talked to my friend Brian once, and he was saying the same thing. I go, you have arguments with people that aren't there. He goes, all the fucking time.
Yeah.
All the fucking time. I have arguments in my head with people that weren't there. That's like sometimes you'll have a conversation with someone about something, and then you both immediately are like relieved and start laughing because you're both expecting the other person to be like super mad and come in like an asshole.
Yes.
But meanwhile, you both apologize, and then it just goes away, and then everybody feels way better.
Way better.
Way better.
Yeah.
Like conflict is stupid. What's not stupid is exercising out all the anxiety that your body possesses that it creates conflict in the first place. Whether it's exercising it through meditation or through taking a yoga class or doing something physical that just gives you some relief of stress because you exert yourself. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Fucking going on a nice hike. You go on a nice hike, you get to see things, and you feel better. Like you're walking, the blood starts pumping through your brain. You come up with great ideas when you hike. You know, it's like all these things are just little incremental steps that every one of us can take. And you do that, and it changes everything. Then you be nicer to people, that changes everything too.
Right.
And it helps you to be nicer if you have control of your physical body.
That's it.
Yeah.
And the question that we were talking about earlier is like, what the fuck do we do about the lunatics out there? Well, what you do, man, if you can, you start with the fucking lunatic that you're sitting in right now. That's what you do, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Start with that lunatic.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's exactly what Ram Dass says is we work on ourselves so we can help the people next to us, and that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Because you can't do shit, man, to make another person. You're not really going to do much to the other people around you. They're going to do their own thing. They're going to decide. I mean, this is something I've been thinking. Fucking Jesus. Because a lot of people talk about miracles and stuff, especially like in the camps I hang out with. Like,
Duncan says, I've been thinking about fucking Jesus.
You shouldn't say that,
okay,
man.
but yeah, no, I will.
Freaking.
That's a
Say freaking, man.
That's a different thing. Fucking Jesus.
Yeah.
I would totally do it. It's a different thing.
I bet you've already done it. If you do DMT, I bet that's part of the experience.
Making love to the Christ.
You're having intercourse with the Christ
It would be an honor.
through all pores.
It would be an honor.
You
But
go together like this.
you just merge. You just merge.
Yeah.
You're on your knees again at the video store.
This guy, it's always dirty with him.
But-
It can never be just psychedelic love.
It's erotic psychedelic love about
Yes.
Jesus,
It
Joe.
has to be on your knees, choking on Christ cum.
Why not? But I would you can
Original
guarantee that's going to be a sex simulator for sure. Make love to Christ,
for
of
sure,
course. That's going to
for sure.
But what,
And the Virgin Mary.
Yeah.
She was hot.
these people, they talk about miracles
So
a
how's
lot.
Denise?
Guys, come on! I'm trying to talk about fucking miracles here. So.
I'm obsessed with this Denise gal we created.
Denise. No, these people, they talk about miracles a bunch, and like, you know, having seen some of these fucking gurus do crazy shit.
Yeah.
But they always say it doesn't matter. Like, ultimately, these are just like fireworks. It's just like tricks. It's a firework. It doesn't, because like the thing is, like, you could sit in front of someone and like levitate bottles in front of them. Like levitate a bunch of bottles,
Right.
teleport across the room, come back, and then tell the person, you know, you're going to be a lot happier if you go jogging. Like, someone could do that to me, and tomorrow I'm going to wake up, and I'm like, yeah, he levitated bottles. He teleported across the room, and he told me I should go jogging. I'll probably go tomorrow. I'm not going to go fucking jogging. I don't care that he teleported. I don't care that he levitated. So, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. The point is, like, if a person who can levitate bottles probably isn't going to make you go jogging, then certainly you're not going to be able to talk to a person and be like, hey, you know, you're going to feel better if you do this.
Right.
All you can really do is look at yourself and be like, you know what? I'm going to go fucking jogging.
This is a really good point. What's your take on this in terms of like the miracles in the Bible, like some of the weirder ones, like walking on water? Like, what do you think that's about? What do you think, like, even though the interpretation of those is kind of suspect, right? Like, what isn't the walking on water is a weird one, because I think it has to do with translation, and I think that it could be interpreted in other languages as walking by the water, like walking near the water. Could be thought of as levitating and walking on water.
It's all in the preposition, man.
Yeah, it's so hard. You're going from ancient Hebrew and Aramaic and all this different shit. But do you think that what you're saying is like that someone would do tricks to get you to listen to them? Like you levitate things, or walk on water, or turn water into water. Like Moses splits the sea.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I used to have a bit about that, where it was like there'd be like 100 people standing behind him going, how long can he hold that? Like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, why did he split the ocean? We have to walk across that?
Yeah.
Dude, that's gonna take days. And I'm like, how's he doing that? Magic? Tell that silly motherfucker to use his magic and make us a boat. This is crazy. I'm not walking. It's a mile high city on one side, a mile high the other, and you're just walking through the middle. This fucking dead fish flopping around in the middle. Walls of water on either side.
Yeah.
Very human.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Well, I mean, that's all, you know, that's literal interpretations of something that's like way deeper than that. Probably that has a lot of deeper meanings. It's probably you know, it's a myth. They're using these like encoded stories to try to get across something that's a lot bigger and that's isn't about really walking on water, maybe.
No, but I think that these showing that the people that had all this knowledge also had magic tricks is very telling. Like the people that everybody would follow, they were able to do things.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how about the guy who called upon a she-bear to kill these kids that were mocking him for being bald? That's a story.
That's in the Bible?
Yeah. There was a man, I forget his name.
She-bear?
See if you can find that story. He called upon a she-bear, and God brought down a she-bear to smite these children that were making fun of his balding.
Like she-bear and she-ass.
Yeah, well, I think it was a
There were
female bear.
she-asses.
They would call it a she-bear back then. You know, today I guess they would call it a sow bear. This bear killed the kids because they were making fun of him for being bald.
Yeah.
Like what? Like, you know, there again, you have to listen to this guy. He's got magic. He's able to conjure up beasts from the forest to kill mocking children.
Yeah.
They walk on water. They turn water into wine. Here, why did God kill 42 lads merely for saying Elisha was bald?
42 lads. That makes it worse somehow.
Lad is such a friendly word.
Well, let's read the verse. Then he went up from there to Bethel, and he was going up by the way. Young lads came out from the city and mocked him and said to him, "Go up, you bald head! Go up, you bald head!" when he looked behind him and saw them, he cursed them in the name of the Lord. It doesn't say what he
The
said.
Lord's in all caps too, by the way. Like it's a fucking Twitter account.
Then two female, yeah, Lord, Lord. Then two female bears came out of the woods and tore up 42 lads of their number.
I thought it was 2. I didn't know it was
42,
42.
man.
That's crazy.
42.
That's a lot of lad.
I didn't know it was 2 bears either. I thought it was
Just-
one she bear.
Wait, what is it? So this is like actually exploring this. Why would God allow 2 bears to kill 42 young lads?
And it's written by a guy named Matt Slick.
Oh
So,
God,
I don't know.
He's probably doing porn right now. And
There's so many weird Bible stories. I don't remember that one about 2 bears tearing up 42 kids for making fun of a bald-headed man. I know the one that oh my God, these Bible names always escape me, but it was a lady trying to take her son somewhere out of the city because someone was coming to kill her son, and whoever was coming to get her son fucking actually had her trapped off and she couldn't get away. So she took a knife and cut the foreskin off her son's dick. Took the foreskin and throw it at the man, and it hit him on the foot. The foreskin from the little kid's dick. She threw it at the man who was trying to kill her son. It landed on his foot. She said, "Ha ha. You cannot kill my son because now you are blood brothers." I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck kind of shit is that? And then the one story where the dude wrestles with the fucking angel and he like beats the angel up, but the angel like fucked his leg up or something, and he said that's why man don't eat the sinew of the meat or some shit. And then what about Esau? Why this motherfucker was so hairy? I don't know. Yo, Tony. What's up, Tony? There's so many weird Bible stories, and motherfuckers still believe in this shit, yo. Like, still believe in this shit. I don't get it. I did watch some clip from Alex Jones the other day. This motherfucker got a beard now. I'm like, what the hell? Alex done grew a damn beard out. That motherfucker look weird as shit with a beard, yo. But he was, that's why he was talking shit about Joe Rogan. I've been listening to Joe Rogan a lot lately, like a lot. And Alex Jones was like fucking bagging on Joe Rogan. It was kind of funny though, cause he did kind of ping what Rogan be doing sometimes. Rogan, he'll talk shit, he'll compliment you and talk shit about you. It's like, no, Alex Jones he's a cool guy. That fucker's crazy as shit though. Like, it's like, he'll compliment you and dish you in the same time, and Alex was calling him on that shit. He's like, yeah, Joe, yeah, I know what you be doing. Alex Jones and Hotep Jesus. Nah, that sounds like a hell of a conversation. I tell people after Alex Jones interview Immortal Technique, like, and I saw like little pieces of his personality during that interview. I don't know what took me so long to see it. Maybe it was just, I think Immortal Technique kind of intellectually intimidated Alex Jones a little bit. And so he was making these weird comments and weird jokes, and I was like, I really didn't like that shit. And after that interview, like, I really kind of stopped listening to Alex Jones for a while. I try to listen to his show every once in a while. And then when he started endorsing Trump, I was like, I'm done. I can't watch this guy no more. Well, I mean, communism, socialism, goddamn, Republics, man, no real There's no real perfect governmental system. George Soros, he said his fucking father made him round up Jews and shit. You know, shit. Does that make him a Nazi? Maybe it does. You know, the motherfucker say he rounded up Jews. He almost dead anyway. Motherfucker about dead, man. Fuck all these old motherfuckers, man. Oh God, George Soros a Nazi. But yeah, you think he the only one though? You think he the only one? Shit, motherfucking Prince Henry, that's his name. They got pictures of this motherfucker in a Nazi uniform. They got pictures of motherfucking Schwarzenegger in a Nazi uniform. But what? So what, man? These motherfuckers, they hella Nazis still out there. We just had the whole goddamn shit. Where was that shit at? In Virginia? You seen the whole goddamn squad of Nazis come out that bitch. The Soros kids ain't taking over shit, man. The Koch brothers, they kids taking over shit. You need to watch motherfucking children like that, yo. Motherfucking Rupert Murdoch, his grandkids and the kids, them motherfuckers. The goddamn Brzezinski's daughter. Motherfuckers like that. Woo! Smell like a skunk died, a moose ate it, and then fart that bitch out. Oh yeah. But I don't know. I think I would be more of a fucking socialist myself, man. Because obviously, democracy doesn't work. The republic doesn't work. There's always going to be a motherfucking some kind of class or caste system. Either way you fucking look at it, man. I just come to realize that that's fucking human nature, man. It's always going to be some kind of hierarchy, and it's fucking stupid. Capitalism is broken, and there is no fucking free market. There is no free market. The free market doesn't exist.
Yeah. Mr. Z, Columbia, we think, represents man's finest aspirations in the field of science and technology.
We're here because of you. We're here because you were there.
Open your eyes before you die.
We've arrived from every corner of the planet to this nation to seek the fulfillment of the promise of America. We were promised a better life in our home countries, where we were told that privatizing water and electricity would make things run more efficiently. Instead, the quality remained almost the same, and the price was increased until it became an unaffordable luxury. Some corporations are more efficient than government, but their motivation is is not the health or well-being of the people. It's only about profit. Everything else, their image, their human resources, their public relations only exist to protect the reality behind it. Once upon a time, we were told that nationalization would prevent growth by limiting competition, that our countries were nothing without the companies that invested in us. And so they privatized everything. Everything in our country was owned by people that had no connection to our culture, by those who never had our interest at heart. They didn't care about our survival or well-being. They just wanted to turn a profit by raping the land, by exploiting our people, our industry, and our resources. They took everything we built and made it theirs. First by creating racism to justify slavery, building the capital for capitalism, and then when they gave us what they called liberty, everything we had was still owned by them. Our governments told us that socialism was the real enemy and that we would have freedom, but the foreign powers and corporations were the ones with the real freedom. The freedom to take all the wealth generated by our work and our land and give us only a small percentage of the scraps from the table. Their lust for power and their greed drove them to betray not only us, but themselves and the word of their own God. And while some used missionaries and donations to offset this abuse, other countries and companies were blatant with their crimes, using war, disease, and sanctions that killed millions. They supported corrupt governments that were almost like the old slave masters in their repression of the people, because their loyalty was to those who enabled them, installed them, and kept them in power. They became the bastard children of American industry, kleptocracies, governments of thievery. They protected the corporations and went to war against their own people to preserve those profits. The puppet rulers were given billions of US tax dollars to fund civil wars, right-wing death squads, execute political dissidents, sympathetic clergy, and even overthrow democratically elected governments. And so the age of revolution began again. They painted it as godless terrorists versus the free world and the free market. But the free market has never been free, because the market does not regulate itself. It is manipulated like a puppet, and it survives because of its image. Destroy the image and the enemy will die. Such is the same in the rap industry, for the major label superpowers treat the underground like the third world. When they need new assets, new artists to prostitute or sign and put on the shelf to use their songs. When they needed new concepts, music, and publishing to steal from producers, they came to the underground, to the third world. They took our culture, our property, and our industry, and our resources, even using our own people to help them exploit us. But behind the mask of efficiency they claim that we need to succeed, they are no better than us. Their economic advertisement was always a lie. A few got rich, but most were given an illusion of wealth, almost as if it was designed for failure. Opportunity comes at the price of the soul in the music. So remember what they are underneath the fancy architecture, glittering rented jewelry, the cars, the IMF loans, the seeds with suicide genes, 20-year contracts and oil blood money. Build your defenses, my independent brothers and sisters. They'll stop at nothing to get what they want. They paint the third world underground as savage and backward, but the superpowers are no less corrupt. They've just learned to disguise it better, cause they fix elections too. They embezzle tax money, they go to war for resources, they fund terrorism for their own benefit. And when there's enough at stake, history's taught us that they'll even assassinate their own presidents.
Try to get them final details in there. Ooh, ooh. Boy, that thing's starting to look lifelike. Oh shit, Trap, you outdid yourself on this one. You have truly outdone yourself this time, sir. I ain't an artist, I just paint a lot. What? I ain't an artist, I just paint a lot. I love it when they call me Big Papa. Put your hands in the air if you's a true player.
Welcome back to Power Lunch. This half hour, we're talking about the big business of marijuana. Should it be legalized? Should it not? What would that do on a fiscal basis? In a rather very interesting departure from Bush policy, Attorney General Eric Holder signals a change on marijuana policy. John Harwood joins us with some of the fallout on that from Washington. Hi, John.
Hey, Sue. You know, it hasn't gotten much attention given all the focus on our economic problems, but President Obama has changed the federal government's policy on medical marijuana. The Bush administration used federal law to target sellers of medical marijuana, even in the 13 states that make medical marijuana legal. Attorney General Eric Holder told reporters this week that Team Obama will take a different approach that takes note of the policies of states. Quote, consistent with what the president said when he was campaigning, our focus will be on people and organizations that are growing and cultivating substantial amounts of marijuana and doing so in a way that's inconsistent with federal law and state law. Now, so far, not much response from Republicans. They're busy targeting the Obama administration on the economy. But don't be surprised if the marijuana issue surfaces as the 2010 elections get closer soon.
And that's one of the reasons we're talking about it, John. Thank you very much. So one of the questions that we're putting forward is, should marijuana be legalized? Here to tell us the pros and cons of that is Rob Kampia. He's the executive director at the Marijuana Policy Project, and Asa Hutchinson, former head of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency. And, of course, the rest of the gang is here as well. I'm going to start with you, if I can, Mr. Hutchinson. Make the case for why it should not be legalized at this point.
Well, and Attorney General Holder's statement does not change federal law. Federal law still makes possession, sale of marijuana for whatever purpose illegal. The question is whether it should be expanded or legalized. Absolutely not. If you look at harmful drugs, whether it's tobacco or other hard drugs such as marijuana, cocaine, methamphetamine, the objective of society is to reduce the use of harmful drugs. If you legalize another harmful drug, the question is, will it expand use and availability? And the answer is absolutely yes.
Rob,
why do you want to do
that? If we follow
that?
that logic, then we should outlaw alcohol as well, right, Rob?
Well, you know, the simple argument is that the prohibition of marijuana is not preventing people from growing it, selling it, or using it. 25 million people a year use marijuana illegally. This prohibition has failed ever since it was first enacted in 1937. And so it's time to take a new approach. We learned with alcohol prohibition from 1919 to 1933 that it didn't actually help matters, and in fact made matters worse. Loss of tax revenue as well as violence associated with the sale of alcohol. And we're seeing that same kind of thing happening with the prohibition of marijuana.
Asa Hutchinson, let me just ask you this question. I understand what you're saying. I don't think the alcohol argument is the exact right one. You don't want to do anything to increase. If you have a problem over here with alcohol, you wouldn't necessarily want to make it worse by making another substance illegal. But let me ask you this. How do you make the cost-benefit analysis? That you spend all this money, you keep spending it, and you don't ever get anywhere. And in the meanwhile, you end up undermining sort of support for the rule of law as you keep enforcing a law that many in the population disagree with.
Well, first of all, if people disagree with it in our democracy, they can change the law. Thus far, in the last 8 years, they have not been successful in changing the law. In fact, Alaska decriminalized marijuana. When they saw it became a huge problem, they adjusted the law and recriminalized it. And so the population still resists the legalization of marijuana. But it's a public decision. But whenever you talk about the cost benefit, first of all, the figures on enforcement, that applies across the board, whether it's all illegal drugs. If you legalize one drug, you still got enforcement costs and the whole vast range of methamphetamine, other illegal drugs.
Now, let me just jump in here and share with you some numbers. The DEA spent $10 billion last year, $10 billion fighting marijuana. Not every drug, just marijuana. Now, keep in mind, California actually collected $11 million, small in comparison, but this is one state, in tax revenue off of medicinal marijuana. So it shows you that there is some money that can be made on the government's behalf in the way of taxes on this product.
Guys, Rob, also don't move. We're going to have more on this discussion right after that. Those are great numbers, Trish, and we'll talk about whether or not you can make a lot more money. Like maybe the state of California can use that shot in the arm after this.
Meantime, on the U.S. markets,
how much money do you pay in sales tax in the state of California every year?
$300,000.
$300,000. And what do you pay in federal income tax?
About double that. About $500,000, $600,000.
So the government's making money off you too.
Definitely.
We continue our discussion on the big business of marijuana and legalization. We got Rob Kampia and Asa Hutchinson standing by with us. And Lee Gallagher, I want to bring you in because you edited a piece for your magazine about the legalization of marijuana. What kind of economic effect would that have? Would it be good?
Well, you know, Trish makes some really good points. We've got this natural resource right in our own backyard. Prices are doing well. Production is up. We found that actually last year was a record year because of a series of weather, consequences. It was a bad year for wine, but it was a great year for marijuana. So, and if you look at the, as Trish mentioned, 13 states have actually decriminalized possession. The problem is the state and the federal laws really go kind of against each other. But there is definitely an economic case to be made. And, you also can think about the ancillary businesses that might benefit. I mean, I don't know, accessories, paraphernalia, salty snack business.
But the key is taxation, the ability to tax, right?
Right, exactly.
Is this history repeating itself, Rob, when it comes to, wasn't it during the 30s, the Great Depression, that we got rid of prohibition, and here we are another time when we're kind of down economically, we're revisiting some of our abstinence laws?
Yeah, it's the same situation. 1929, the stock market crashed, and then it was 4 years later that the country repealed alcohol prohibition, and it was largely, but not entirely, for economic reasons. There was a large industry that was not being taxed. And right now, the argument's very clear with marijuana. Marijuana is the largest cash crop in the country. More marijuana is sold than vegetables and corn combined in this country. So it's not going away.
Is that
the
by dollar volume, Rob? That's
It is by dollar volume.
Right? Okay.
I just want to jump in here
because right.
Marijuana, well, and this price is very important because think about this, guys. It really wouldn't be this expensive.
No, if it was legal.
If it was legal.
You get a glut.
Exactly. It's $400 per pound to produce. Then retailing on the street for up to $6,000. That margin is a result of the illegality.
Mr. Hutchison, what do you make of that? And indeed, if we do find ourselves in times that parallel perhaps the Great Depression, what about the point that Steve Leisman brought out about legalizing it?
If your motivation is to bring revenue to the government, legalize, regulate it. But if your motivation is to reduce the usage, to save teenage lives, to reduce dependence, to strengthen our culture, then the cost is worth it, and the revenue should not be a motivation.
Well, I think you make a good point, though, because it is a question of whether you buy the moral argument, as you suggested, or the economic argument. Economically, you're basically agreeing that there's a good reason to legalize it, but morally, I think a lot of people would say that there's not a lot of good evidence to suggest that people think that it is more dangerous than alcohol or tobacco. I don't hear people dying in car crashes because of marijuana use, but you hear about alcohol abuse all the time. And I think the American public is not buying that anymore. I think that's what we're seeing now. People are starting to doubt that. More people are using it. That's why the consumption rates are going up.
What do you think, Mr. Hutchison?
Well, I disagree with that. I think that if you look to health professionals, they're not in favor of legalizing it. They recognize the health consequences of it. We try to, the carcinogens in a marijuana cigarette are more than a tobacco cigarette.
That's not true.
But it's absolutely not true. Shouldn't we outlaw alcohol?
I agree. Say that dude just lied. That's
this
not
debate
true.
is not about alcohol. The debate is about a harmful substance called marijuana and drugs.
I think this debate is about money. I think the reason why marijuana is illegal and alcohol and tobacco are legal is because the alcohol and tobacco industries don't want marijuana to become legal because they fear that they're going to lose some money out of the process. If people can make money out of it, then there will be an incentive to do it.
Unless they can get in.
Unless they can get into it, which is a whole different thing.
We got 30 seconds. Ron, you want to respond to that?
Well, first of all, marijuana is clearly safer than alcohol or tobacco. It's impossible to overdose on marijuana. Marijuana absolutely does not cause cancer. There are no recorded deaths.
But address Keith's point. What if it were legal? Would we see the tobacco companies fighting it because they don't want to lose market share to it?
I don't think that's the reason that marijuana is currently illegal. I think that it's illegal just out of inertia. It was made illegal in 1937, largely for racist reasons, and it's just been on the books ever since. There aren't powerful lobbies on Capitol Hill lobbying to keep marijuana illegal.
All right. Thank you both. Appreciate it very much.
That's how I look at it. It's an old-ass racial stigma that motherfuckers don't want to get over, even though all the white men are about to invest hundreds of millions of dollars into this new market and become billionaires off of this shit. But it's still this old ass racial stigma. Oh, it's gonna make all your daughters wanna fuck niggers. It makes niggers wanna rape white women. Like, get the fuck out of here. Marijuana has more carcinogens than a tobacco cigarette. Dude said, that's not true. That's not, I'm so happy he called him out on that shit, yo. Like, that's not true. You're lying. That's a lie. All the fucking chemicals and all that shit they put on goddamn tobacco before they roll that shit up in the cigarette for you. Man, get the fuck out of here. That's why I stopped smoking cigarettes. I smoked cigarettes for fucking 16 years, bro. Bro. I smoked cigarettes for 16 years. Dude. Bruh, I'm so happy I got off them shits, man. Word up. That shit tough though, man. Like, this old hippie dude told me this been back in the day when I was still smoking. He was like, he can tell when they change cigarettes, yo. He was like, cigarette. I never really was addicted to cigarettes when I was a kid, man. Everybody smoked cigarettes. But it never made you, like, crave that shit. It was just something to do when you had a beer. You know, smoke a cigarette while you have a beer. And he was like, shit, I didn't smoke for years at a time. I would go 2-3 years without smoking a cigarette. Then I would smoke cigarettes for a few months. Then I wouldn't smoke them. And it was like, around the late 60s, 70s, they did something to cigarettes where I couldn't get off them shits. And I quit smoking one time. And I started back smoking again, and I've never been able to quit these motherfuckers. I said, damn. I can tell they start adding different chemicals to them. My grandmother used to tell me how food tastes different. Even back in the day, she would say like different kind of fruit weren't as sweet as she remembered them when she was a kid. Apples and she said the bananas look different now. The watermelons weren't as sweet as she remembered them to be. And then now, when I buy some fruit, I'm thinking to myself the same thing. Like, damn, this shit don't taste like when I was a kid. And now you got all this fucking genetic shit that don't even got no fucking seeds in it. Like, what the fuck did y'all do to the fruit? How you get a watermelon with no seeds? How do you do that? Wait a minute. That was the fun part about eating watermelon. You get to go in the backyard and spit the fucking seeds everywhere. But now you got a watermelon and it doesn't have seeds in it. Oh my God, it's Frankenfruit. These motherfuckers done made Frankenfruit. What the hell? Seedless grapes? What the fuck is a seedless grape? That's not natural. That's so, oh my God, just the way I be blending this fucking skin tones. I know it's amazing. It is, right? It's like this motherfucker just painted a real person into life. Like, how does it look like she's really sitting there? It's all about that blending, son. Ooh. Look at the flick of my wrist. Ooh. Look at the flick of my wrist. Ooh. Check out the flick of my wrist. Ooh. Alright, I gotta put some music on. Cause I'm rambling. I'm rambling. Oh boy, Killer B. Thank you, son. This shit right here, son. This shit right here is called talent. That boy talented. Oh boy, that boy can paint, boy. Damn, that boy can paint. Look at that right there. Look at that right there, boy. Damn, that boy. Look at that. Look at that right there. That boy right there. Oh damn, that boy good, boy. Damn, look at that boy like that right there. Oh shit. Damn, that boy good. Boy, you can paint, boy. I ain't never seen nobody paint like that. Especially not no black boy. Hey, black boy, who taught you how to paint like that, black boy? Oh, I taught myself how to paint like this. Ah, that boy lying, boy. You ain't taught yourself how to do that. That's amazing.
This video is made possible by Dashlane. Download Dashlane for free if you never want to lose another password again at the link in the description. Tokyo, December 10th, 1968. It was pouring rain. The bank manager of the Nihon Trust Bank was on edge. Someone had threatened his life and those around him over the past few months. Just 4 days prior, a letter, one of recent many, was sent to his personal residence demanding 300 million yen or his house would be blown up with dynamite. The letter was made up of characters cut out and pasted from movie magazines. Police were notified, and indeed they kept a close eye on the bank and his home, though this did not ease the mind of the bank manager, who shared his concerns with his branch employees. Now, of course, this is Japan, and work is work. The show must go on. With this in mind, the bank manager went on with his duties, sending 4 of his employees to the nearby Toshiba factory to make a scheduled drop. So off they went, taking the company car. But not long after leaving the bank, the 4 heard police sirens approaching. At that very moment, they happened to be next to a prison of all places. A police officer screeched to a halt in front of the car and frantically got off his motorcycle to warn them. The branch manager's home had just been blown up. People were injured, and some presumably worse. Despite police monitoring the locations, the perpetrator was still able to carry out his threat. But it wasn't over. Additional threats were made. The bank in particular was now a target, and branch employees were at risk, especially those who had left the bank earlier to carry out bank duties in clearly marked company cars. Their car needed to be searched. The officer got down underneath to check the car, but before he could do a proper search, an employee started noticing smoke and flames emerging from the vehicle. Fearing the car was about to explode, the officer desperately tried to roll out of the way. Everyone ran as fast as they could to safety, retreating behind the prison walls. They waited and waited for the explosion, but there was no explosion. They looked back and realized the company car was gone.
Nah. I've never watched the episode of Power. I've never watched the episode of Empire. I just don't, that shit don't suit me no more, man. All that fucking gangster shit is so played out, bruh. My name Trap House. I done been there, I done did that shit, dog. I done ran the Trap House. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? Some motherfuckers make it and some motherfuckers don't. And I know motherfuckers my age still like they think they're a dope boy. Nigga, you don't even own a house. Like, you been hustling for 15, 20 years. You ain't buy a house yet? Come on, man, this shit ain't for you. You not Toogie. You not Freeway. You know what I'm saying? You not Big Meech. Some motherfuckers can get it. Some people can't. Man, fuck all that shit. That shit don't even entertain me no more. Watching stories about drug dealers, like, that shit is not entertaining to me at all. I just finished watching the Game of Thrones, and then I watched this one YouTube original series called Impulse, and now I started watching this other show called The Expanse, which is pretty good. I'd rather look at some sci-fi shit that predicts future technologies, you know, interstellar travel and shit like that. Fuck all that bang bang shoot 'em up. I can go to my own hood and see that shit in real life every day. You know what I'm saying? That shit is not entertaining. It's not entertaining to me. And, you know, it's weird as fuck that guys are still fascinated, man. I done grew up with Juice, Boys in the Hood, New Jersey Drive, Menace to Society, Don't Be a Menace to Society while drinking your juice in the hood, all that gangster shit, man. I done seen that. I done been there. I came up in the 90s, bro, with the most gangster ass music. I'm 37 years old. Ice Cube, Mobb Deep, that was all my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, all that hardcore real shit. Not this fucking tattoos on your face with fucking colorful Fruit Loop ass hair and shit, wearing some tight ass jeans. Like, nah, nigga, I come from a whole different generation. You know what I'm saying? So just watching that shit on TV, that shit don't interest me no more. That shit don't even... yeah, basically sci-fi fantasy, yo. I just love that shit. Like some action drama shit. I haven't watched a good action drama movie in a long time. The last movie like that I still be thinking about is No Country for Old Men. If you want some shit that's like real gangster and not no aliens or fairies and gnomes, you give me a movie like No Country for Old Men. I love that shit. I watch some shit like that, and it ain't no black people and they killing each other. It's some white boys running around trying to find a briefcase of money. You know what I'm saying? Every time some shit gotta be gangster with guns and shooting and killing, it ain't always gotta be niggas in the hood doing that shit, man. We ain't the only motherfuckers who do that shit. Everybody do that shit. Show me some Russian mafia shit or some other shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I get tired of watching hood ass motherfuckers kill other hood ass niggas in the hood, dead niggas. No, I'm so tired of that shit, yo. That shit is played out for me, man. I was watching some shoot 'em up. I did watch that 50 Cent movie though, Den of Thieves. I watched that shit. Me and my girl watched that shit on the Fire Stick, and that was pretty good. And I'm thinking like, damn, why they had to take the motherfucker from NWA, take his son and turn his son into the snitch? But then at the end of the movie, it all reversed around. And he wasn't the snitch. That was a lot of spoilers if you never watched the movie Den of Thieves. But that movie, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. I'll never watch it again. It's not like, oh, I gotta see that shit one more time. Like it was written well enough. The cinematography, the acting was well enough that I actually sat through that whole movie. You know what I'm saying? And it turned out that a young black dude was the fucking mastermind behind the whole shit, set everything up, and got away on top with all the fucking money. You know, I like endings like that. You know what I'm saying? I got Goodfellas on DVD. Casino. I remember Casino too. One of my shits back in the day was, well, two of my favorite movies, Heat and Heist. And sometimes I get both of them confused just thinking the titles, but I know both of them shits was dope as fuck, yo. But I think fucking Heat was goddamn De Niro and Pacino, and Heist, man, that shit was just as good, yo. I love it. That was that shit, you know what I'm saying? Goddamn shit like that. Motherfucking that American Gangster, that shit was a good ass movie. But like, people always tell me, watch Power, watch Power. I'm like, I can't even bring myself to do it. Shit. I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna fucking analyze every catchphrase, every situation, every stereotype, every fucking nuanceical subliminal message that they try to fucking add into the script, and I'm gonna just break that shit down so much and try to find all the fucking implemented brainwashing that I won't even enjoy that shit. You know what I'm saying? I can't even enjoy shit like that. Shit that I know is fantasy, that I don't have to fucking analyze to the core to see what it's really trying to do to me. And even in fantasy movies, it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Watch the Black Panther. It's like the Malcolm X and the Martin Luther King character. You know what I'm saying? And y'all want to kill the Malcolm X motherfucker. He was on some righteous shit. We can be supremacists. We can be the supremacists now. We can take all our technology and we can run the world the way we see fit, the way we want it to be. And yeah, we'll be in charge, but we'll be different from the people in charge now. But it's going to take a little bit of violence for us to get in charge. And they was like, no, kill him. Like, what? Why do y'all want to kill that character? Like, T'Challa, you bitch. Like, damn it, man. Why y'all couldn't let Killmonger live? Loki, man, Loki, Thor's brother. You seen all the shit that Loki did, man? Loki killed hundreds of motherfuckers, called down an alien attack, motherfucking crush all the fucking cities and shit, and y'all let that motherfucker survive like 2-3 fucking movies. But Killmonger get on the screen one time and he tried to do some anti-hero shit, and it's like, oh, kill his character off. Like, really? What the fuck is that? Creation, what's up? But yeah, I don't know. I'm a huge sci-fi fan, dude. Major sci-fi fan. I love science fiction, yo. I just love that shit. I've been loving that shit ever since I was a kid. Like science fiction, fantasy, anime, boozy with a doozy. I just can't get enough of that shit my whole life, yo. My whole life. Always wondering what is, or what's possible, what could be, and you know, in a different situation, a different dimension, what would the possibilities look like? You know what I'm saying? And just instead of being stuck in this fucking boring ass reality that we're in now, you know, I always just want to think like the future. 100 years from now, 500 years from now, 1,000 years. How will things be 1,000 years from now? You know what I'm saying? In the year 3018, because it's gonna come. You know, just like it was 1700. You know, there was 1865. I was born in 19. Like the year 3000 is gonna be here in 1,000 years. But it's like, what will it be like? It's almost impossible to fathom, but it's fun to do so. And that's the one thing that most people don't really try to do, is think abstractly on future issues. And that's why the people who control the world are in control of the world, because they set agendas in 50-year, 75-year, 100-year increments. And they gauge and guide current events towards the future that they want to see. So they basically create the future. And if you can't see far enough in the future, then you're always going to be stuck in the fucking past. But science fiction is good for that. The difference is, for me, if you just go back to the early days of cinema, you know, they wouldn't even let blacks into that shit. That's their industry. They came up with, you know, the film and the cameras and the light and the sound stage and all that shit, and they wouldn't let us, you know, play pretend. That's all acting is. You're just pretending. But you know, but in the early days, that's all they had was mafia movies, because those were the bad guys, those were the criminals and the gangsters and the thugs. It was the Italians and the Russians and the fucking goddamn Irish. They were the fucking gangsters and the bad guys. And then like somehow, like right around the civil rights movement, well, no, actually it was even before that, because they put out Birth of a Nation, and that just really destroyed the image of the freed slaves on the big screen. But after their whole little mafia era ended with Lucky Luciani and all these motherfuckers, Tommy Two Guns, and then you switch over to this whole paradigm of that, you know, the young African American male is actually the gangster, the thug, you know, the mob-minded. But man, most African American gangsters can't even organize to the level that the mafia has. That's what made Frank Lucas such an anomaly to the New York Police Department. Is like, how in the fuck did this black dude organization get so big without nobody knowing? Like, how didn't we catch this on the radar? You know, but now they attribute all the negative stereotypes, for the most part, is overly saturated with the image of the black man being the, you know, negative. And I've seen so much of it. So if I do want to see like some violence, once again, that's all I grew up with, bro. All the Boys to the Hood, man, they gave us that shit. Baby Boy, man, they gave us that shit for like 10, 20 years. All I seen was fucking really poor images of self-hating black men. So I had enough. I've had my fill. My share is done. You know? So if I do want to see some kind of shoot 'em up action, I don't need to watch that. What's my man name? I watched some Vin Diesel or some goddamn shit like that, or what's that movie, Shoot 'em Up? That shit was good as hell. I understand what they trying to tell you. I understand. I watched plenty of episodes of The Wire. The Coroner. What was another show that was kind of like that? But goddamn, and why they giving us all this shit? You know, everybody else watching Seinfeld and Friends and all this other shit, but you know, our shows is like gay ass drug dealers in the hood. It's like, it's so weird, dude. It's so fucking weird. I mean, we don't need that shit on the silver screen or the big screen. Like, we know what goes on in the hood. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, once again, and these networks air these shows to suburbia, and that's the only contact or only image and information they get of the black community, and wonder why motherfuckers still look at us all crazy, because for 20 years that's the only propaganda that's been out there, is like, we all sell drugs. Like, you know what I'm saying? I could just walk somewhere in a completely random city and dude walk up and be like, yo, hey bro, you got some weed? Like, motherfucker, I don't sell weed. Do I look like I sell weed? Oh my god. You know what I'm saying? It's just that whole stigma is so played out. It's so played out. So played out, bro. Like, how many more drug dealer shows can we? And then they got this other movie coming out, Superfly, about some young pimp drug dealer with a perm hairstyle. Like, it's 2018. God, just let Donald Glover be Spider-Man for fucking once. You know what I'm saying? Stop bitching that Michael B. Jordan was the Human Torch and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, my goodness. And I like Michael B. Jordan because he does like the crossover. He can act like, so he played Fantastic Four, science fiction, or, you know, comic books science fiction. Then he played in this other movie called Chronicle, where he got superpowers, and then he had superpowers in Black Panther. I like that shit, man. Michael B. Jordan could be a good superhero, man. I like shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I like positive images like that. I gotta grab a water real quick.
confused, they called the Nihon Trust Bank to find out what was going on. To their relief, the bank manager answered. He was alive and well. In fact, everything was fine there. The bank manager's home was never blown up. As the adrenaline wore off, it finally dawned on them what had happened. This was the moment the perpetrator had been setting up the past few months. Disguised as a police officer, he had now gotten away with what was to be the bonus payments of 523 Toshiba employees. The stolen amount totaled to 300 million yen or $6 million, the exact amount he had asked for. On the ground, they found various items left behind, including a warning flare that the officer must have ignited while under the car to mimic dynamite. A reported 120 pieces of evidence was left behind at the crime scene, which is a lot and would normally be beneficial, but this was purposely done to mislead the investigation. This worked. Half a century later, the case remains unsolved. Some say this was the greatest heist in Japanese history. There was no loss of life, no blood spilt, the plan meticulously carried out by a single person, and in the end, the money taken. But there are many ways a bank heist can be great. There are many ways it can be notable. Take the case on May 15, 2016. At around 5 a.m. in the early hours, cash was physically withdrawn from an ATM from a Tokyo 7-Eleven. The amount was 100,000 yen, about $880, which was the cash limit. Now, this doesn't seem too bad, but try repeating this 14,000 times across Japan in the span of just 2 hours, because that is exactly what happened. In total, 1.4 billion yen, about $13 million, was taken from ATMs alone. And this wasn't done electronically, it was done in person. Sure, it had to be some sort of a large, coordinated group, but the staggering number of transactions in a 2-hour frame made even this seem questionable. Compared to other notable cases, the largest known recorded number of participants to have been involved in a single heist wouldn't have been able to pull this off either, unless they had superpowers. Involving an even larger team would presumably be unwise, as there'd be too many chefs in the kitchen. Now, after police completed their painstaking process of checking security footage of each 7-Eleven store, and yeah, it was only 7-Eleven's hit, they found their answer. In this particular case, the more chefs, the better. It wasn't a team of 50 or 100 or even 200. It was 600 people. 600 people pulling off a sophisticated, highly coordinated heist using fake credit cards. Quite the contrast from the single perpetrator of our first heist. Not surprisingly, most people have surmised with this many active participants, there must have been links to a large crime organization. But as of today, despite the numbers, no one of note has been caught. Now, here's a quick one. Kobe, August 7th, 1994. 540 million yen was stolen from Fukutoku Bank, which is a sizable amount. But what makes this story so unique is that 10 days after the heist, the bank, still reeling from the events, received a note from the robbers. The note read, "Thank you very much for the bonus. We can now live on this loot for the rest of our lives." It was a sincere message of gratitude. Yeah, we all know the reputation Japanese people.
I got a bumper sticker that says Oath Keepers, reminding active military and police personnel that they did take an oath to protect, serve, and uphold the Constitution against threats, foreign and domestic. So when the motherfucking cop get behind my damn car, you see that Oath Keepers bumper sticker, you better remember you signed that shit, because I'm going to question your ass before you question me. You are a public servant. And I am a driver. Lou, what it do? Lou, what it do? Alright guys, I'm gonna pull out some motherfucking some goddamn white. Get some of this titanium white. I tell you, I should have been a singer, man. All I gotta do is drink more water. If I drink more water, man, I sound like a young Michael Jackson. Y'all think I'm lying? I sound like a young Michael Jackson up in here. When he was still brown, you know what I'm saying? When he still had a little color to his skin. Hey! Ooh! You know what I'm saying? Billie Jean, it's not my love. Ooh! I gotta drink more water though. She's just a girl who thinks that I am the one, but the kid is not mine. See, got a little phlegm. Got a little phlegm in there. Let me say that for later on, when I gotta serenade the wife.
Have for being polite, but this took it to another level. So the last 3 cases involved plans being executed perfectly with no loss of life. But not the case with the next one. We're going way back. January 26, 1948. Again in Tokyo, a man in a suit just before closing. 600 people were inside, including customers and bank workers. He got everyone's attention and explained it was a government health inspector sent by the U.S. Occupation Authority.
Because nowadays, shit, more women go to the movies than men. Oh, you got some new art on the gram. I'm about to check that out. Yeah, where they make motherfuckers look like buffoons. You know what I'm saying? You either gonna be a motherfucking a gangster or a buffoon. Which one you want to be? I'll be the buffoon. I'll dance, boss. You want me to dress like a woman? I'll dress like a woman too. Where that dress at? Where the wig? Put the wig on me. I gotta wear lipstick. Okay, boss, I'll put some lipstick on and dance in this lady dress. I don't know how many motherfucking Medea movies. God damn, motherfucker. You act more natural as a woman than you do as a goddamn man. What the fuck kind of signal is that sending the little boys out there? Get that shit the fuck out of here. I'm not trying to see no man in no motherfucking dress with a wig on. Cause it's funny. Oh, he makes me laugh. Go ahead, Medea. Get that shit the fuck out of that gay ass shit out of here, man. No, it's bad. That's bad. Look, Daddy, I'm Medea. Boy, I slap the shit out you come around me with a goddamn dress on talking about you Medea. Man, if you don't get that shit the fuck from so far around me. Coming with that buffoonery shit. Ice Cube make pretty good movies. They kind of corny sometimes, but like some of his old, like the Fridays, they were okay. The first Friday is a fucking classic. Now that's some hood shit. It's not too violent. It's a little bit of black on black violence, but it's not, nobody ain't getting shot. And the whole thing about fighting and not killing the motherfucker, man. The biggest motherfucker in the hood. So what? Go fight his ass. Try to knock his ass the fuck out. You ain't got to grab no pistol to do that shit. That shit had lessons in that shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Had a son, you know, living at home with his mom and his dad, still married. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to, you know, get his son to do the right shit. He ain't got no baby mamas. He got some crazy ass girlfriends, but he ain't got baby mamas running around and all that shit. And he don't even smoke weed. He don't even smoke weed like that. You know what I'm saying? That shit was, the first Friday was a good ass movie, yo. I can imagine the shows are way different. I mean, I kind of know the premise just from watching so many previews of this shit. Power is about some ex-drug dealer who apparently gets pulled back into the drug game, and I know a couple of guys who watch it, they tell me, oh man, 50 Cent, he killed his own son because his son was fucking some other bitch and he couldn't I don't want to hear that shit. And then Empire is about some kind of mogul family, I guess, and you know, the husband is the ringleader of the family in the business, and he got a fucking gay son and all kind of other shit. Like, no, I don't want to watch it. No. One of my favorite artists, he actually had a painting on the show Empire. Like, there was one scene where I guess they're in like one of their offices, one of their business offices or something, and they pan around the room and you see this giant painting on the wall in the back, and that's actually my homeboy's painting. And he has some art on the TV show Blackish. They had a couple of his paintings on that show too. Your drawings are fucking awesome, bro. Fucking awesome. Masterful.
Authorities. Remember, this was post-war Tokyo, still under U.S. occupation. The man stated there was a sudden outbreak of dysentery in the area, and he was to carry out inoculations. In post-war Tokyo, the disease was a legitimate threat, so no one really doubted him. Add to the fact that the man was wearing an official government armband. He gave all 16 people a pill and a few drops of liquid, which they quickly drank. Now, it wasn't long until they fell, one by one, in agony. With everyone incapacitated, the so-called health inspector grabbed all the money he could find and calmly left. 12 of the 16 people would later be confirmed dead, including...
So they already know exactly how to brainwash each sex group. Like, we'll guide this one more towards women, we'll guide this one more towards men. You know, both of them are going to have some self-hatred in there. The black women are going to always have long, straight hair, the European type hair, because they're not going to wear their own natural hair. And the men, they're always going to be questionable if they're loyal, if they're alpha. Their sexuality is going to come into play. So there has to be a gay black man on both shows. But we'll do it this way and we'll do this one that way. And it's all, I mean, I understand 50 Cent has a lot of say-so, but at the same time, dude, once you go on a fucking network, the network has a final word in that shit. And I don't know, whatever format he's using, it must work, because these shows, they're what, season 9 or some shit? How long these motherfuckers been on? 6 years, 5-6 years or some shit now? 7 years, season 7. And it's like, damn, you guys are doing a good job. Hey. A
young child. The solution they drank was a cyanide solution. This was a ruthless way to go about a heist, but what made this even more strange was that the man left behind a business card. He left it at the scene. The card was marked with the name Shigeru Matsui, apparently from the Department of Disease Prevention, which does make sense since he was pretending to be a health official. But Shigeru Matsui turned out to be a real person who actually worked for the Department of Disease Prevention. Not surprisingly, upon investigation, Matsui was cleared. He was not the robber. He had several alibis. But he told police he had exchanged business cards with 593 individuals. Japanese people had the habit of exchanging business cards with personal details, so this was helpful, as police now had 593 suspects. Over time, they were able to whittle down this number to just 8 cards, 8 suspects, one of which was a man named Sadamichi Hirasawa, a Japanese painter. When Hirasawa was questioned and asked to produce the card of Shigeru Matsui's, which he should have had, he could not. He claimed it must have been in his wallet, which was stolen the other day. He was a victim of pickpocketing. Police had a feeling they knew exactly where the card was. When asked to produce an alibi, he could not. When police looked into his history, they found 4 previous cases of bank fraud. When they searched his possession, they found a similar amount of money to that stolen from the bank. Hirasawa suspiciously refused to divulge how he got this money. Finally, when his face was shown to eyewitnesses, they immediately identified him as the poisoner. Upon further interrogation, Hirasawa confessed. He was arrested for the robbery and the murders, and in 1950, he was given the death penalty. He was sent to death row to await execution by hanging. Case closed. Or is it? Because after the trial, some had doubts whether Sadamichi Hirasawa was indeed the perpetrator. Everything mentioned, circumstantial. In fact, it was revealed his confession was viciously beaten out of him, allegedly tortured, and it was only 2 of the eyewitnesses who identified him as the criminal. Perhaps he was telling the truth. Perhaps he was really a victim of pickpocketing, as he claimed. The unexplained origin of the money in his possession was also thought by some to be from his side business of drawing pornographic pictures. Revealing this truth to police and to the public would have been detrimental to his reputation as an artist. There was also no way Hirasawa could have realistically obtained the ingredients for what turned out to be a military-grade cyanide solution used in the robbery. Interestingly, some have claimed that the true culprit was actually a former member of the notorious Unit 731, a covert biological and chemical warfare research and development unit of the Imperial Japanese Army that undertook lethal human experimentation during wartime. If so, this would explain the accessibility to the poison. The Minister of Justice himself doubted Hirasawa's guilt, and so never signed the death warrant. This opinion was shared by successive ministers of justice, so the death sentence was never actually carried out. And so Hirasawa sat in prison on death row for the next 32 years of his life, one of the longest tenures ever on death row. And on May 10th, 1987, he caught pneumonia and died in a prison hospital. Despite the verdict, the case was never truly put to rest, and many people felt that the true culprit, all those years ago, would have been within grasp if only the focus was on the right person. This brutality happened in 1948, but 70 years on, there would emerge a new type of heist. January 25th, 2018, land of the rising cybercrime. The Tokyo-based exchange Coincheck, one of the most prominent virtual currency exchanges in Asia, was to fall victim to the biggest cryptocurrency heist in history. At 2:57 a.m., using overseas servers, hackers, disguising themselves as authorized users, were able to enter the system. They remained undetected for the next 8.5 hours, stealing 58 billion yen worth of the cryptocurrency NEM, which is about $530 million. Then they were gone.
Wow.
This incident became an embarrassment to the Japanese government, who had been trying to make Tokyo the global center for cryptocurrency. Coincheck revealed they failed to implement the required extra layer of security, but even worse, the stolen currency had been kept online in a hot wallet, rather than in a much more secure offline storage facility known as a cold wallet. This is similar to if a convenience store kept significantly large amounts in a cash register, instead of an off-premise bank vault. Now, one of the stranger aspects of the heist is that the stolen virtual funds were able to be traced online, because transactions for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are all public. And so the $530 million worth was eventually traced back to 11 specific addresses. But the identities of those sending and receiving the money, unfortunately, remained anonymous. Indeed, no one yet has been caught, but the developers of NEM were able to label the 11 addresses with specific warning tags for all to see. They also set up a tracking tool to automatically reject exchanges involving the stolen funds. Of course, the most frustrating part of this is that it all easily could have been avoided if Coincheck just added that extra layer of security. And really, it's not just big companies. Most people today are too lax when it comes to online security, using the same password for every account they have. Now, if this is you, congratulations. You have bad habits just like me. But that's okay, I'm segueing here, because Dashlane makes keeping track of all your passwords ridiculously easy. It stores all your passwords in one super secure place, and autofills them on websites you go to. If you have the same password everywhere, but are too lazy to go to each individual website to change your password, that's me, well, all good, because you can just click one button in the Dashlane app, and it does it for you. Dashlane also has a password generator, so you don't have to spend time thinking up super strong passwords like this one. By going to dashlane.com/kentobento, you can get started for free. And if you want some extra special features like syncing your passwords and login details between all your devices like iOS, Android, Mac, and Windows, you can upgrade for 10% off by using the promo code KentoBento at checkout.
Oh yeah, motherfuckers. Boy, getting them finishing touches. I was like, oh, that shit look dope. And then I start adding that little bit more paint on there, and it'd be like, yo, that shit even looking better, yo. Yeah, I'm gonna pull the camera back in a minute.
All right, your journey to AA. Dear Billy, 2-shift drinking albino ginge dad bod, once a solid C cup, now a solid A cup, Sir moves a lot. There's a mouthful. All right. Me and another friend of Bill W. agree that your qualifying story for AA is unfolding perfectly. All right, here we go. I'm an alcoholic, so you must be an alcoholic. All right, I'm going to lose this guy as a fan. I hate fucking AA people. There's nothing more self-involved.
When you think about it, in your visual landscape with animals, you see them for months, years, in plants. So you have a familiarity factor. But mushrooms that come up and disappear in 4 or 5 days, some of them can feed you, some can kill you, some can heal you, some can send you on a spiritual journey. So to have something so powerful and yet so ephemeral, it's natural for humans to avoid that which they don't understand out of fear because they don't know the difference. But 23 primates consume mushrooms, humans being one of them. And so that speaks to a long ancestral use of mushrooms going back, in our primate evolutionary tree for a very, very long time. We separated from fungi 650 million years ago.
Maybe you did, dude. I know some people that are probably still...
Well, basically, we are descendants of fungi.
Yeah.
We share more common ancestry with fungi than we do with any other kingdom.
And fungi are closer to animals than they are to plants.
Animals came from fungi. Whoa. You and I are actually fungal bodies. Oof. I'm speaking to basically another fungal body right now. Okay. And from a cellular point of view, under the microscope, human cells, animal cells, and fungal cells are very, very similar. We exhale carbon dioxide, we inhale oxygen. And it's really interesting that many of the bacterial diseases that infect fungi also infect us. Our best antibiotics against bacteria come from fungi, penicillin being the obvious example. But, the universe was created about 13.8 billion years ago from the Big Bang. The Earth coalesced out of stardust about 4.5 billion. The earliest records of life we have is about 3.8 billion years ago, single-celled organisms. But just recently in lava beds in South Africa, they found mycelium infused to the lava 2.4 billion years ago. Now, we split from fungi 650 million years.
Okay, end of introduction. Here's the scenario, and I hope it has special resonance for this community. All animal species tend to evolve into an ecological niche and stabilize themselves there. Ants and termites have been at equilibrium for hundreds of millions of years. Our remote ancestors also were on a direct course toward that kind of dynamic equilibrium. We were evolving toward being fruit-eating, canopy-living, insectivorous primates with an advanced repertoire of pack signals, and this was apparently to be our evolutionary destiny. Were it not for the fact that sometime in the last 5 million years or so, the African continent, which was the site of our environmental proto-system, began to dry up. And the forests that had always been our arboreal home began to shrink. And what this spelled for our remote proto-hominid ancestors was nutritional pressure. There wasn't enough food. Our remote ancestors began descending from the canopy and exploring the new environment that the aridity was bringing into existence, a grassland environment, an environment of limited numbers of plant and animal species relative to the climax tropical rainforests that were in retreat. Now, the reason animals specialize their food supply is to avoid contact with mutagens in the environment. If you begin experimenting with foods and begin eating everything, you will produce more children with mutations. Some of these mutations will be positive, most will be lethal. When our remote ancestors came under nutritional pressure, they began expanding their diet. This was the moment when we became partially carnivorous, when we became omnivores. And had I more time, I would lay out many examples of specific plants, such as plants that contain birth control alkaloids and things like that, specific plants that would have impacted early human emergence. But I want to concentrate here on one plant, and that is the psilocybin-containing mushrooms that grow in the dung of cattle. Because I think that if we're looking for a missing link, it isn't a transitional skeleton, it isn't meddling by extraterrestrials, at least not of the overt 1,000-ton beryllium ship variety. It has to do with the fact that we began to allow into our diet an exotic pseudo-neurotransmitter that was part of the native flora of the grassland. And I believe that, in the next 10 minutes, I can at least make it seem plausible to you that this mushroom was the triggering factor that moved us from being an advanced hominid, an advanced animal, to being, in fact, a conscious, self-reflecting, caring, thinking, dreaming, striving human being. And here is my answer to this riddle: where did human consciousness come from? It begins like this. In that foraging phase where we were testing all kinds of plants on the grassland, small amounts of psilocybin mushrooms would have naturally been eaten in the process of eating corms and things like that. I personally have seen baboons in Kenya investigating cow patties on the savannah because they know that bug pupa will be under the cow patties. So the cow patties are already set up as vectors for possible sources of nutrition. So there is no question that these proto-hominids would have eaten psilocybin in small amounts. And by small amounts, I mean amounts so small that if you were to eat that much, you would feel nothing. But this dose level has been studied, and it causes increased acuity of vision. You can actually give people small amounts of psilocybin and then give them eye tests, and they do better if they're slightly intoxicated than if they are not. The guy who proved this, the Viennese psychologist Roland Fischer, when he described these experiments to me, he said, "And so you see, my young friend, here we have a case where the use of drugs actually introduces us to a more true vision of reality than if we have avoided the drug." Scientific proof that the drug is telling you more about reality than if you had refused it. All right, now, what kind of visual acuity is it that is being improved? Well, it turns out it's what's called edge detection. In the grassland environment, where the movement of small animals means dinner, and the movement of large animals means you become dinner, a plant which confers increased visual acuity is going to immediately confer an adaptive advantage on those members of the group that let it in. Those members of the group that refuse it out of aesthetic or gastronomic reasons will tend to be outbred, because the psilocybin-using members of the species will be more successful at obtaining food and at surviving to raise their own children to reproductive age, which is the name of the game in evolution. So that's step one of a three-step process that leads to the explosion of consciousness in the hominid brain. Step two, which should have special appeal for this crowd, is that when you take slightly larger doses of psilocybin, not religiously profound doses, but doses which you definitely feel, psilocybin is what's called a CNS stimulant, a central nervous system stimulant. What it causes in animals is what neurophysiologists call arousal. And in highly sexed animals like primates, arousal means in the male erection. So an animal then which is allowing what is essentially a sexual stimulant or an aphrodisiac to enter into the diet, there will be more instances of what anthropologists call successful copulations. And God knows we need that. So if you have more successful copulations, you have more pregnancies. You have a second factor, outbreeding the non-psilocybin using member of the population. Now, something really important here that is this whole thing is my theory, but here's the part of it that I like the best. All primates have what are called dominance hierarchies or male dominance hierarchies. This goes right back clear to lemurs and the old world monkeys, which are much more, the new world monkeys, which are more primitive. All primates have this dominance hierarchy, and what it means is the sharp-fanged, hard-bodied young males, they control the women, the children, the elderly, all sexual minorities. Everybody is under the thumb of the alpha males. And as we sit here today, though this community may strive to be an exception, as a society, male dominance is an enormous dilemma for us and an enormous distorting factor in our politics and in our lives. So my notion is that psilocybin, by promoting this polymorphic sexual style, actually acted as an inoculation against monogamous sexual styles of bonding, you see. And it isn't that the monogamous style, the dominator style, disappeared. It was simply medicated out of existence for perhaps 100,000 years. It was medicated out of existence. Now, and what it promoted, this arousal, this psilocybin taking around the African campfires by these primitive nomadic pastoralists, what the social change that came with it was an orgiastic sexual style. A style where everybody would get loaded around the campfire and then hump in an enormous writhing heap. Now, yes, now, besides the fact that this is a great deal of fun, it has a very, very profound social effect, which is, in societies which allow orgy, men cannot trace lines of male paternity. Men cannot trace lines of male paternity. What does this mean? It means that men do not identify with children as property. It means that the men of that kind of a social group can only think in terms of our children. We, the group, our children. And it creates an immensely cohesive social glue that I believe held these societies together for millennia. And I believe that during this period of pharmacological suppression of male dominance, we became human beings. Theater, poetry, magic, art, altruism, dance, symbolic and cognitive activity of every sort was born in that window of opportunity when there was simultaneously a chemical suppression of male dominance and consequently an opening to Gaian intentionality, to the intent of the larger biological systems in which the human system was embedded. And a kind of paradise came into existence. There were actually two phases. One from about 40 to 30,000 years ago in the interglacial, and in that early phase, human beings, cattle, and mushrooms were sort of all swirling together there on the African grassland, in contact, but not yet a coherent triad. The second partnership paradise arose at the last glaciation, at the melt, during the last glacial melt, and lasted from about 20,000 years ago to perhaps as much as recently as 10,000 years ago. And it was in that later phase that the Magdalenian explosion occurred and the social forms were put in place that Hellenistic paganism was looking back at with a nostalgic and barely cognizable memory. There was an old memory of a kind of paganism that was old 5,000 years before Eleusis laid its cornerstone. I wrote a book called The Archaic Revival, in which I tried to say that the entire cultural impulse of the 20th century, beginning with Freud and Jung discovering the unconscious, beginning with Picasso dragging back primitive West African masks to Paris and inserting them into his paintings, Dada, pataphysics, jazz, abstract expressionism, even phenomena like National Socialism. All of these various impulses in the 20th century, some positive, some negative, all have a common theme: archaism. Archaism, a nostalgia for a state before history. And as this tendency, this nostalgia, has been sorted out over the last 100 years by generations of scholars, beginning with, Freud and Jung and Blavatsky and Crowley, and then coming up through all the folklorists and deconstructionists. As this thing has been teased apart, it has become clearer and clearer that the paradigmatic figure in any archetypal revival is the maker of magic, the shaman, the wizard, the seeress, the person who is in control with invisible forces. And as I have lived my life and explored these things for a long time, I've come to the conclusion that the shaman, without the hallucinogenic plants, is well on the way to becoming priest or priestess, well on the way to being downloaded into a fixed canon, a moral vision, a societal religious structure, which is not what shamanism is about. It's about Discordian ecstasy. It's about the felt presence of immediate experience in the absence of theory. That's what it's about. So and then I want to go back to our little process. We've now covered step one. Better vision through mushroom taking leads to better diets and healthier children. Bigger doses lead to an end to monogamy, a dissolution of pair bonding, and a replacement of monogamous anxiety with polymorphic amorousness, or whatever you want to call it. Then, that's only the second step. The third step is when you double the polyamorous dose, and now hunting is out of the question, and even fucking is out of the question, because you are nailed to the ground somewhere off at the edge of the firelight, wrestling with a mystery so profound, so bizarre, that even as we sit here with Husserl and Heidegger and Heisenberg and all these clowns under our belts, it is still absolutely mysterious, appalling, challenging, boundary dissolving, and unavoidably ecstatic. It is the living mystery. And I don't know how many of them there are in the world, but for my money, there only has to be one to rescue the entire concept from, the dirty claws of the reductionists, the materialists, the Christers, the nothing butters, the merely this and the simply thaters. Yeah, I know I'm preaching to the converted. If I preached to the unconverted, I'd be hung from the yardarm.
Fucking with that psilocybin. Coming through, feeling silly sliding. Cause I'm getting high on the psilocybin. Coming through, acting silly sliding. Cause I'm getting high on the psilocybin. Whoa, yeah. Fucking with them psychedelics. Ooh, man, fucking with them psychedelics. Ooh, yeah. Cause I'm getting high on this psilocybin. Ooh, man. Ooh, yeah, a little kratom, a little peyote. Know how it go, yeah. Ooh, man, a little kratom, a little peyote. You know how it go, yeah, man. And I slide in cause I'm getting high on that psilocybin. Ooh. Fucking with them psychedelics. Oh man, fucking with them psychedelics. See, that's the first part of a song right there. All I gotta do is write that shit down and keep it going. Change the words around a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Try to find a beat. Shit ain't hard, man. Shit ain't hard. I made this rap shit look easy. Ooh. I could have been Kendrick Lamar, but I chose to be Da Vinci instead. You know what I'm saying? When I grow up, I want to be like the Black Master P. Man, you see how teeny this brush is? That shit don't make no sense, man. Why I gotta use a brush so small? Damn. Ugh. Feel like I'm painting with a goddamn toothpick over here. What in the hell? What in the Bob Ross is going on? What in the wide world of sports is going on here? Alright, I think I gotta put some more music on because I'm about to start rambling. I'll be rambling. I'm about to pull the camera back for a second anyway. Hold on, let me just do this one more thing. Looking at the Jet Beauty of the Week, 1993. Ooh, boy, I smell dinner cooking. Damn, just smelling that shit made me instantly hungry. What the fuck? I wasn't even hungry like a second ago. Then that shit smell like some baked chicken, son. Ooh, I know that smell anyway. Got some baked chicken. Na na dee da 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 dee da da da. Ooh, that was wet. Stop bumping the table.
You know what I mean? I believe that God left certain drugs growing naturally upon our planet to help speed up and facilitate our evolution. Okay, not the most popular idea ever expressed. Either that or you're real high and agreeing with me in the only way you can right now. Got the code. Is it 2 blanks yes, 1 blank no? Do you think magic mushrooms thrown atop cow shit was an accident? Where do you think the phrase, that's good shit, came from?
That's some good shit.
Why do you think Hindus think cows are holy? Holy shit. Why do I think McDonald's is the Antichrist? That's God's little accelerator pad for our evolution. Let's think about this. Billions of years, sorry. We were nothing but apes. Probably too stupid to catch a cow.
What the fuck? Yo, this fucking is tripping out, yo. What the fuck?
I think we can go to the moon. That is exactly how it fucking happened.
That is exactly how it fucking happened. Motherfuckers ate the mushrooms, start thinking about shit like, wait a minute, wait. I'm having a thought. Oh shit, I'm thinking. It's crazy. Hey guys, eat these mushrooms, it'll make you think about shit. Oh shit, I'm thinking too. I think, therefore I am. Oh shit, dude, that's so fucking profound. We are thinking. The fuck is that? I don't know, man. Let's call it a mushroom. Bruh, yo, I went outside just a little while ago. Man, the thermostat in the car said it was 99 degrees. By the time I was coming back home, that shit said it was 102 degrees. I said, I better hurry up and get in the damn house. This shit getting hotter. I come outside, that shit start getting hotter. motherfucking food just came to life? He mad? He mad? He lost his brother. That's all I really see is like, I don't know. Seems like he had this dream where his food actually turned into. It seemed like a child at first. And then this child grew up and got married and left home. He woke up out the dream and his real father came and like, oh, I guess it's your brother's home. But his brother brought home a new wife or whatever. What's wrong, Sushi? I keep going? Alright. I don't know, it's just that bond, you know. I guess he misses that bond between him and his brother. That shit is it's fucking all in his subconscious to the point where he's dreaming about that shit. You know what I'm saying? His brother, he just misses the way things used to be. It was just him and his brother and his dad. Now his brother's all gone and got his own family and everything. And he misses that old family dynamic that he was used to. Now that there's a paradigm shift. You got this outsider. You took my brother from me. I just want to eat him and keep him to myself. That was the whole thing. I just saw the brother came back and then it went out. It was like a 3-minute clip. Incredibles 2 short film. There's one clip. The first one I watched was 3 minutes, 8 seconds. There's one that's 1 minute and 44 seconds. Incredibles 2 new clip, including Boa short clip. That's 5 minutes long.
version of that with Belle. And a lot of like Eastern fairy tales too. Like I really loved the fairy tale of Princess Kaguya, the little princess that's found in the bamboo, like by the bamboo cutter, and she's adopted. I just really love.
Well, that's not even the clip. That's her talking about it. Yeah, every other clip I see is actually shorter than the one I just watched. Oh, it's a mother and son story? This motherfucker crying over a raccoon fight. That's messed up. Dude, I've been here for over 2 hours. I'm about to go eat. I smelled that chicken a little while ago. I might have to watch The Incredibles 2. I remember the first one, yo. I watched the first Incredibles. That shit was good as hell, yo. Motherfuckers, the superheroes all out of shape and shit, and they got fat and had families and shit. And when he tried to put his suit on for the first time after all them years, he could hardly fit in that shit. I was like, well, what the hell? I don't know why I be hungry all the time. Just constantly have the munchies. Crazy brainwashing short film. Alright, let me see. So what I just did, I just added some more whites to the collar. I still may tone down some of the grays a little bit more. So I've been basically working on the face all day, for the most part, trying to get the rosiness in the cheek, but not too much. I may actually come back and add just like a little bit more highlight underneath her eye here, maybe on both sides, to make the top of her cheek curve a little bit more. But for the most part, I'm really feeling comfortable with the skin tones. The lips are looking nice. The collar is looking really Beethoven-ish right now, and the bow tie is still kind of wet, but I think I'll be able to work on this shoulder piece a little bit and get some more individual feathers on the bottom of it there. Damn. Very anti-dad. Wow. No. Ever since I've been in the stream, I haven't been on Instagram. I'll check it out shortly. Just push the dad out the whole scene, huh? This is a mommy movie. Mommy's a superhero now. You guys had your Thor Ragnarok. You had Black Panther. The Incredibles 2 is all about mommy time. It's mommy time. The movie Incredibles 2 was anti-dad. Alright guys, I'll let you gaze at this magnificent, marvelous masterpiece one more time before I get out of here. Damn, that shit coming along nice. How long you been working on this, Travis? I've been working on this painting since 2001. This girl is already grown. She's graduated college and has a kid now. I'm working on this shit since 2001. But it's almost done. It's almost done. A little more details here and here. I'm gonna take some of these harsh lines. I want to fade some of those lines in a little bit and blur some of those harsh lines a little bit more. And her bow tie has a lot more highlights that need to go in there, along with her shirt. But like I say, the face and that, I'm not touching the hair anymore. Well, maybe I may add some more highlights right around the braids right here, and a little more highlight underneath the eyes. But for the most part, it's looking good. Feeling comfortable with that. I think I'm gonna start working on that shortly, and just really focus on the outfit. The largest section I need to do is actually go back and go ahead and get another coat of paint on that background. And so that'll already be done with that nice cinnamon honey background going on with that thing. No, I'll check out your art in a minute, bro. Oh, thank you, Mr. Art. But yeah, let me get out of here so I can go grab me something to eat, man. I'm hungry as hell. Alright, turn the speaker off. Appreciate everybody chilling with me for a little while, man. Hanging out, checking me out. All the comments, all the laughs and everything from my homies up in here. Y'all know what it is. I said I'm about to go eat, play some video games for a little while. There is a good chance I might be back in here this evening. I'm not sure. There's a good chance I'll be back in here this evening and probably won't stream. God, I don't know if I'll be in here that long. It's so hot in my studio today, man. It's so hot outside, man. I got the AC on. It's still hot in here, man. That shit crazy, bro. Shit crazy. But I am almost done with this piece, and I'll be working on another one. Peace, guys.